All right, let's talk about something you've probably done a dozen times without even thinking about it. Getting an oil change. You're faced with a choice, conventional or synthetic, and it seems pretty simple, right? But believe it or not, behind that one little question is an incredible story. A story about war, about mind-blowing chemistry, and about a total revolution in how we keep our cars running. So let's get into it.
So you're at the shop, the mechanic asks the question, and you know the synthetic option is going to cost you a bit more. But is it worth it? Is it just some fancy marketing? Or are you actually buying something that's fundamentally better? Well, that's what we're here to figure out. We're going to break down what you're really paying for and why it makes such a big difference.
You know, to really get why synthetic oil is so special, we first have to talk about the stuff it was designed to beat. So let's pop the hood and take a look inside what we all call regular oil.
Okay, so at its heart, conventional oil is a natural product. It's pumped out of the ground as crude oil and then it's refined. But that process, well, it isn't perfect. What you end up with is this jumbled mix of hydrocarbon molecules, all different shapes, all different sizes, plus a bunch of natural gunk that you just can't filter out completely.
And here's where the trouble starts. That inconsistent, jumbled mess of molecules creates some real-world headaches for your engine. When it gets really hot, that oil starts to break down and burn off. And when it gets freezing cold, it can thicken up like molasses, which is the last thing you want. Over time, all this leads to sludge and deposits that can seriously choke your engine's performance. This was a big problem in need of a serious solution. And that solution? It came from, of all places, the battlefield. Yeah, the story of synthetic oil isn't about making a daily commute smoother. It's a story born from the desperation and brutal necessities of war. It all started back in the 1930s. Germany didn't have a lot of access to natural crude oil, so their scientists got to work trying to create an alternative. Then World War II hits, and suddenly this research becomes absolutely critical. During the horrific Russian winter at the Battle of Stalingrad, German tanks and trucks literally froze in place. Why? Their conventional engine oil had turned into a thick gel. That failure lit a fire under the synthetic oil program. After the war, the new jet age came roaring in, and with it, engines that ran hotter than anything before. Guess what? Only synthetics could take the heat. It wasn't until the oil crisis in the 70s that everyone started caring about fuel efficiency, and that's when synthetic oil finally hit the mainstream market. So that whole history lesson brings up a huge question. What is it about synthetic oil that's so different? How could it work when conventional oil was literally freezing solid? The answer isn't about where it comes from. It's about how it's made. This slide just lays it out perfectly. You're looking at two totally different philosophies. With conventional oil, you're just refining a natural substance and kind of hoping for the best. But synthetic oil, that's engineered. It's built. Scientists take the base components, break them all the way down, and then rebuild them from scratch, molecule by molecule, to be the perfect lubricant. I absolutely love this analogy because it just makes everything click. You're not just cleaning something up. You're not patching it. You're tearing it down to the studs and rebuilding it from the ground up. But this time, it's perfect, with none of the flaws nature put in there. So this three-step process, this is the secret sauce. First, they deconstruct. They take those crude oil molecules and just smash them down into their most basic building blocks. Then, they purify. It's like having a bouncer at a club. They kick out all the weak, unstable molecules and only let the absolute best ones through. And finally, they reconstruct. This is where the magic really happens. Chemists take those perfect little building blocks and build brand new, flawless lubricant molecules from scratch, where every single one is a perfect copy of the last. Okay, so the science is super cool, I get it. But what does all this molecular perfection actually mean when you turn the key in your car? Let's talk about the real-world benefits. See, because every molecule in synthetic oil is uniform, they all flow smoothly and predictably. They create this incredibly strong and stable film of protection between all the moving parts in your engine. That consistency, right down to the molecular level, is the key to everything that comes next. And here it is, the bottom line. This table really spells it out. Because synthetics don't break down in the heat or turn to sludge in the cold, you get way better wear protection. They have special detergents that keep your engine sparkling clean inside. You can go longer between oil changes. You might even see a small bump in your fuel economy. And for modern cars, especially anything with a turbocharger, that high heat stability isn't just a perk, it's pretty much a requirement.
Let's just stop on this number for a second. 40 to 60%. That's how much a good synthetic oil can reduce engine wear compared to a conventional one. That's not a small difference. That is a massive deal that could directly translate to thousands, maybe tens of thousands of extra miles for your engine.
All right, now whenever something costs a little more, you're going to hear myths and rumors pop up. So let's take a minute and just bust a couple of the most common ones about synthetic oil. First up, the big one. The word synthetic itself really trips people up. It makes them think it's totally artificial, that it's, fake oil that has nothing to do with the real stuff.
But here's the deal. Synthetic oils start their life in the exact same place as conventional oil, as crude oil from the ground. The difference is the journey. It goes through this intense chemical engineering process that purifies and rebuilds it. So think of it less as fake oil and more as super refined oil.
Oh man, this is a classic. You've probably heard this one from a buddy or your grandpa. The old story that if you put this newfangled synthetic stuff in an older car, it's just going to start leaking everywhere. So here's the real truth. Synthetic oil is actually better for the seals in your engine. What happens is, the powerful detergents in synthetic oil do a really good job of cleaning out all the gunk and sludge left behind by years of conventional oil. Now, if that sludge was acting like a plug on a tiny old leak, well, once the sludge is gone, you're going to see the leak. So the oil didn't cause the leak, it just found a problem that was already there.
So we've come a long way from the battlefields of World War II all the way to the engines sitting in your driveway. Synthetic oil has always been about evolution. But what's next? What does the future look like? Especially when the car world itself is changing so fast. This is the big question, right? As we all start shifting towards electric cars, you might think, well, that's the end for engine oil. But probably not. Its role is just going to evolve. Think about it. EVs still have gearboxes, they have bearings, they have complex cooling systems, and all those things need highly specialized fluids to manage heat and reduce friction. So the story of synthetic lubricants, yeah, it's far from over. It's really just getting ready to start its next electrified chapter.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more How Meets History.